Alright guys, how's it going? So today what I'm going to be doing is taking you through how I like to clean my engine bay. Now I've done this on many cars in the past and I've not had any issues, so I'm just going to show you the personal way that I do it. And there's a lot of conflicting views on the internet and on forums and whatnot telling people how to do it. I just thought I'd weigh in with my own personal experience, having done it on hundreds of cars at one point when I was valeting for Mercedes-Benz. I didn't manage to mess any of those up. I didn't manage to cause any expensive mistakes, and I've done it on my own cars, and I'd always do it on my own cars. And if it's good enough for my own cars, then I always think, you know, that's the highest pride and confidence you can put in a method. So just to give my views on a few of the matters within this subject. Do I think it is okay to use running water on an engine? Yes. Do you need to be absolutely scared of washing your engine bay? No. So all you need to do is use a bit of common sense. So I use a pressure washer on mine. I never cover anything up. It is good advice if you've got petrol. It's a lot easier on diesels. If you've got petrol, make sure you cover weak points such as dizzies. If you've got older cars, coil packs maybe if they're not too well sealed, or if you haven't got an engine cover on and stuff like that. But I've got a diesel and I don't tend to cover anything, and it's always been fine. I've done this a few times on my current car and it's been absolutely fine, as long as you use a bit of common sense. So what do I mean by common sense? Well, I use a pressure washer. I don't, however, get the pressure washer that close to components and electrical connectors and hold it there and drive water in. What I do is I just use the pressure of the water to sweep the cleaning solution and the dirt and grime off the surface that I'm cleaning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the camera up on the bonnet. Hopefully you have a bird's eye view of what's going on, and I will, you know, talk you through at certain points where I feel it's important to interject. But what I'll do first is I'll just show you my engine bay as it stands. So this is how it's looking at the moment. It probably doesn't look too bad on camera, but it's really dusty. Absolutely loads of dirt and grime on here, as you can see maybe when I get a bit closer. Now I have serviced the car kind of recently within the last couple of months, and so there's oil residue from filling it and changing stuff. There's general dirt all over here. It's just an honest engine bay at the moment, and I just want it looking its best. As you can see up here, it's particularly bad. So a lot of all the road dirt and grime splashes in. We're going to aim to sort this out. So first things first, I'm going to get set up. I'm going to get a pressure washer, and then what I'm going to use is some Surfex HD. Now this is built Hamber Surfex. It's dilutable in ridiculous quantities, so I bought this for like 15 quid and I've still got all that left, and I've used bottles and bottles and bottles of it diluted. It's been really effective. So you can use it as like a degreaser at 1 to 10, 1 to 20 even. I use it on the interior somewhere between like 1 to 20 and upwards, just roughly, because I don't have anything that goes that precise. A large engine detailing brush. So this is just going to help me to agitate the dirt off on all the areas, all the nooks and crannies, you know, getting the details, all that sort of stuff. What I also like to use when I'm doing a quite thorough detail is an old wheel mitt for the, you know, surface areas, and then a wheel bucket, the yellow Maguire's one, a wheel bucket, and some wheel brushes just to get in the back of some of the areas. You know, so you're using something like these Vican brushes to get down into areas, or this for sensitive areas. This is good for large flat areas. It's just a soft tip brush. It's looking a bit worse for wear, to be honest. So we'll fill this up with a bit of soap and water, and then we'll get to it. So I'll just get set up. I'll show you guys what we're doing. Alright, so that's me just checking that the microphone works. So we're going to get straight to it. So the first thing that we're going to do is just spray the engine bay down liberally with, you know, your chosen chemicals. So I'm using Surfex as mentioned. You can use any APC. You can use, you know, degreaser, anything like that. So just spray it in liberally, and I'm doing it in sort of, you know, I'm dividing the engine bay up in sections. So you don't want to tackle too much at a time because it'll dry, it'll run off, all that sort of stuff. So you just want to tackle it in sections. So I tend to do the outskirts of the car, so it's like the scuttle panel, the sides and ancillaries, and then the engine cover itself, as that's the main bulk. So I tend to split it up into that or more depending. So we're just going to spray it down liberally, let it soak for a bit, and then we're going to agitate it with a variety of brushes. So as I mentioned, just going to agitate it with a variety of brushes. So I'm just using the general sort of
wide, you know, generic detailing brush. Mine says engine bay on it, but it's literally just the same as any detailing brush that's a bit wider basically. So all I'm doing, agitating it. It doesn't foam up too much because there's a lot of grease on there, and Surfex isn't really like a foamy cleaner, so it doesn't look as visually pleasing, of course, but it's doing a good job. You can see it's getting a bit foamy here, so you know we'll take that as a win. So just agitating it, and then use different brushes as required. You'll see me soon. I'm using stiff bristle brushes for down the back of bits. I use some flat brushes later on to get large surface areas. All that sort of good stuff. So just work your way methodically. Make sure you cover every bit of surface and agitate well. Alright, so what you want to do is just rinse it down, and basically all you're doing is using the pressure washer to move the dirt, the grime, the spent product off the surface. So you can see I'm staying quite far away, I'm keeping the pressure washer moving, I'm not driving it into any specific areas or anything like that, and I'm just using it to get all the crap that I've just loosened up and the product residue off the engine bay. So just go around doing it quite thoroughly, but again, you know, not being too forceful with it, just making sure I'm covering every area. You can see it's starting to like bead and the surface looks a lot cleaner. That's just an indication that it is, you know, it's cleaned well and there's nothing holding the water onto that panel. So do this, and then basically all you want to do is just rinse and repeat. You want to agitate some more areas, you want to spray APC all over them, you want to rinse it again, just keep going. Now comes the most satisfying bit. You're going to work on the main attraction of the engine bay, the actual engine itself, or the engine cover, depending on what you can see. In my case, it is just engine cover, but it's the main thing your eye's drawn to when you open the bay, and if that looks shiny, it brings everything else up looking nice. So just spray it down liberally with your chosen product, then just agitate it using a variety of brushes and rinse it down thoroughly. Then what we're going to do is give everywhere a final rinse. Just make sure all the product residue is off everywhere and you're removing any last traces of dirt and grime, anything like that. And then that is basically it for the cleaning stage itself. So once you've rinsed everything, you can either do what I'm doing at this stage and use a sort of spray on, wet and leave to dry sort of product, which is Auto Glim Super Sheen, or you can now dry the engine bay and then put some sort of dressing on. Up to you, completely up to you. If your dressing, you know, requires a dry application, fine, dry the engine bay at this stage and then apply your dressing, wipe it off and you know, sort of skip this step. But if you have a dressing like mine, and the reason I use this is because it's a lot easier, it's a lot less effort. So it still looks good, it looks like 80% as good, 90% maybe, as a dedicated, you know, dry and wipe dressing sort of thing. But it just saves you a lot of time and effort, to be honest with you. So you spray this on wet, let it soak into the pores and dry a bit naturally, you know, just sit on there for a bit, get in every nook and cranny. I spray it all over the hoses, all over every sort of component that I can find. That's either black, rubber or plastic, and even the shuts don't really mind too much to have a bit of it on it. Alright, so I left it to dry by itself naturally. You can see it's already looking quite satiny, quite dry. What I actually do here is, if you've got it, I use a blow dryer. This is literally a pet dryer that we bought actually for the dogs, not for this purpose. but the dogs do not like it, because even on the lowest setting it is ridiculously powerful and it's pretty loud, to be honest. But I blow dry it, it gets any standing water off, it puts the product into all the nooks and crannies, forces any trapped water out, as you see here. I probably should have done this earlier, but I didn't realise how bad it was in there, to be honest. So, you know, it can help stop with standing water and causing any rust. And then after I've blow dried all the engine bay, all I do is go over with a microfiber and get, you know, sort of the pools of water off, any last sort of film of water, anything like that, and just give it an even finish. Alright, so I'm pretty much done here, and then I thought, you know what, I could do with a bit more shine, a bit more bling. I don't like it greasy looking, but I like it, you know, high gloss and with a satin sheen. So I've just gone, and once it's dried, I thought, yep, you know what, I could do with a bit more. I've just put the product back on dry, and then all I do is go over and wipe it again and just rub it in. So it gives it that extra layer, just gives it a bit more pop without it looking too bad. So just apply that, same again, wipe it over with a microfiber, and then assess again. And I was pretty happy with the results after this final pass. Alright, so I've just finished up. I blew dry the engine bay, then I went around it with a microfiber, and then I wanted a bit more shine. It was kind of satin, but I really like the engine bay to pop, just my personal preference. I don't like it greasy looking, but I just like it really nice and clean. So I went around and sprayed it just with another light coat of the Auto Glim Super Sheen, and then give it a final buff with a microfiber, and it's come out nice. Now, I haven't spent all day doing this. I've spent like half an hour of actual work doing this. I've been doing other jobs in between, just in the garage and stuff, and setting the camera up, of course, which takes a while until you're right in the swing of things. But it's actually not taking me long at all. You could go a lot more in depth if you wanted. So, like, before I started, I really quickly just gave the top of the bonnet, the underside of the bonnet, sorry, a really quick clean. You could have gone way in depth on that. Some people polish it afterwards, you know, with like an all-in-one polish or a finishing polish or something like that, just to protect the painted areas. Again, you could do the side panels. You could really clean out the drains. I just gave them a quick clean, but it's come out really well. So you get out what you put into this kind of job. So let me show you where we're at and show you how it's looking. Alright, well there she is, looking absolutely nice. So it don't feel greasy or anything, it's bone dry. I mean, if you look really, really closely, there's still one or two marks, but I mean, it's, you know, it's got 183,000 on it. It's never going to look immaculate, but I think, you know, from a foot back, it looks absolutely brilliant. It looks really nice under here, really clean, really well cared for. Just a real nice satin sheen. So yeah, that's what I do. Again, you can go as much as you like. You don't have to use water, you can use snow foam, you can use degreaser, you can use whatever you want. These are just some general tips and the way that I do it. Just thought it'd be interesting to give another perspective on it. You can never have too much content on a subject, I believe. Every opinion is valuable. So that's it for today. If you did like the video, please be sure to give it a like. If you didn't, a dislike, and please subscribe for more. If you got any comments, any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one.